The song you just heard to kick off the episode is titled Distracted by local rock band Sage Courageous. They started in 2017, and the four artists formed to create a unique sound with inspirations from early punk, grunge, metal, and even folk music. You can check them out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, basically any major streaming platform that you use. They have a Facebook page as well if you want to stay up to date with their schedule and what they're working on. Just like me, they are locals who are trying to pursue a passion, so I'm sure they would appreciate your support more than you know. And if this isn't really your sound, then maybe recommend them to someone who you think would like them. Thank you again to Sage Courageous for allowing me to use your studio to record my vision, and I hope you all enjoy this episode of the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Season 2. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has shown support for my last episode. I've had a lot of great conversations with people about the content Trent and I covered 2 weeks ago, and I can only hope that things will continue along that trajectory for the rest of the season. That being said, my guest for this episode is Shayna Markle. I met Shayna through one of my old summer jobs working as a lifeguard at a pool, but we're definitely not going to be talking about lifeguarding today. Shayna has graciously agreed to come on the show and discuss with me her experience running her OnlyFans account. So this is a topic I've been wanting to cover since I started my podcast, so I'm really excited to hear what it's like to operate one of these accounts and just hear her experience overall, and I hope you guys are as well. So Shayna, could you briefly just please introduce yourself to the audience and kind of give them an idea about why you're qualified to talk about this and how long maybe you've been running your account?
Yeah. So I'm Shayna Markle. I live in Vegas all my life, and I started my OnlyFans about a year ago, and I've had about 3 different accounts as well, working with management groups and on my own, and just how you could build it on your own personally, and then how it goes with management companies. So I feel like I'm qualified. And I know you messaged me like a year ago wanting to do this, so I'm glad we're able to do it now.
Finally, yes, making it happen. So when exactly did you start your very first account? Like the first?
So the very first one I started was my personal, and I started that last year in April.
Okay, so it's been like a little over a year.
Yeah, it was like right after COVID.
Okay.
The whole
Did that
shut down. And it kind of like pushed me. I was like, why not?
Okay.
It was like so big and everyone's staying at home, and
Right.
so it just made sense.
It's kind of like a need for it. Not a need for it, but like you saw opportunity in the market.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And my boyfriend actually was the one that was like, hey, why don't you do it?
Okay. Okay, cool. That's supportive. Love that. So what made you, like, was there a certain point that was like, okay, I'm ready to do this? Were you thinking about it for like a while before it actually happened? Or like,
No,
it
not
was
at
kind of
all.
spontaneous?
Yeah, my boyfriend said it, and then I was like, well, if he's okay with it, like, might as well, like, why not? It doesn't hurt to try. So,
Right.
And then I started getting a lot of following on Instagram, just more than I had, and so it kind of just made sense, and it was easy, and it kind of just took off.
Were you nervous or excited to start it?
I was nervous, almost a little, like, embarrassed, like, didn't really tell people I did it. I would, like, block everyone from viewing my story, like.
Okay. So you have to do like marketing for that. You know what I mean? So how do you market? So did you just like not want people that you knew to know that you were doing it? How do you market it if you not like?
Well, I would like block my family. Like I grew up Mormon, so I'd block all my church, like people that I know that follow me, and my boyfriend's family that follows me, and everyone knows now that I do it, so it's okay. But out of like respect, I just don't want them to see it. I still post it on my Instagram story, and then I'll have like the link in my bio, and then on TikTok I have like the link also in my TikTok, and that's super big right now too, so that helps a lot.
Right. So I swear it's a coincidence that you used to be Mormon, because that was the theme of my last episode. So it just happened to be a coincidence. Did your religion play any sort of role in your perception of your sexuality? Like, how did that affect? Do you still practice, first of all? Like, do you still consider yourself Mormon?
No, not at all. I agree with like the morals and the way you should carry yourself as a woman and all that, but I don't think it should be enforced the way it is and like looked down upon and all that. So I've always been like a open-minded, free-spirited person. Like, if you want to do this, or like, that's up to you. And so, yeah, I just don't go to church anymore. My parents do, but I don't. So
Okay. So growing up, like, how did you look at your own sexuality? Like, was it something that is it something you've always been proud of? Is it something that, like, you grew up kind of being shameful of? Were you more shy about it? Like, because that's a big jump to go from, like, a conservative religion to this. So I'm just wondering what that shift looked like, or if you've always just kind of been comfortable with your sexuality.
I think I've always just kind of been comfortable with it. In like middle school, I thought I was like so cute and would do my makeup or whatever. And so I think that's just, I'm super girly. And so I think that just kind of played a role in it. And I'm so open with my body that it just doesn't affect me like how people think it would from being in the church.
Okay. So given that background, what sort of response did you get from like your friends, your family, your peers after you started this? I'm sure it was probably different across the board.
Yeah. I didn't get a lot of like bad response, honestly. No one really reached out to say like rude things to me, like nothing like that. If anything, I see them like subscribing to my account, and it's funny, but yeah, I'm like, they can't have much to say when they're subscribed and stuff, and it's funny, like they'll put their full name and like picture. It's hilarious.
They're not apologetic about it at all.
No.
Nice. Okay, well, what about
So it kind of makes me feel better, like when they do, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, like they can't say shit now.
What about your family? Like, what was their response? Do they know, or they still don't know?
So my dad, my mom knows, and she's supportive. She doesn't care. When I was younger, she'd be like, you're so cute, or do this, like stuff like that. Like did pageants and stuff through my mom. But my dad told like my whole dad's side that I was a prostitute and that I was having sex with older men for money. Yeah. And so I'm like, he has no idea. He like thinks I have a pimp. It's crazy. Yeah.
So is the relationship there not very good then?
No, we don't speak.
And was it like that before, or did this like fuel that?
It was like that before. Me and him just have a lot of fallouts, and so I'm better off without him, and we both do better without each other. So it kind of just like bound to happen.
Okay.
So
did they both grow up Mormon? Are they both practicing, or?
My dad doesn't practice, but my mom does.
That's really weird. I would have thought that it might have been the other way around, just given their responses. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You have to deal with that. He's just like not interested in hearing about it at all, like, or hearing your side of things, like?
I think we were already on the like path of like not talking. So once he found out I did that, like did OnlyFans, he just took it and ran with it. Okay. So yeah, we just weren't talking.
Yeah. So would you say that overall you receive more hate or like more support with the account?
I think more support.
Yeah. From like everybody.
Which I'm lucky that I have.
Yeah. Because that probably, especially if you're going into it a little bit nervous, not sure, like that can be more empowering than anything. You know what I mean?
I think the biggest thing that I would get the most hate from is from like girls in high school, like now, and what they say. And I'm like, you were in high school getting exposed for free, Like, I don't want to. I was like, at least I'm getting paid. Like, right. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I feel that. Because I remember seeing, like, accounts or even just people who they would let people record, and then those dudes would just go and, hey, look at this. Like, and then it's on the phone or it gets sent around. You know what I mean? So I get that. Mm-hmm. You said you have a boyfriend. And you said he was supportive about it, like he encourages you. Does he still encourage you, and like it goes well and everything? Yeah,
there's times where he'll be like, oh, how's OnlyFans doing? I'm like, oh, it's good. And he's like, you need to, and he knows I like slacks a little bit, and he'll be like, no, we need to take content, like you need to. He was like, I'll take your pictures, like, and he does take my pictures. It's super funny because everyone will always send him my stuff and be like, oh, hey, like, look at what she did. And he's like, yeah, I know, I took the picture. Like, yeah. But it's super cool to have that. But he's always supportive, like, always on me to keep it going and all that.
So when you make content, is it just with him or do you make it with other people as well?
No, it's literally like just myself and him.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that works. You know what I mean? Good for you guys. I'm glad it's never caused any problems at all.
Mm-mm. In the beginning, he was like, I don't want you to blow up and then leave me. And I'm like, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But.
Right. Oh, love it. We love the boyfriend. So do you feel like living in, because Vegas is very sex oriented, like I guess our culture in general profits a lot off of sex and like sexualizing women's bodies, but specifically our city, you know what I mean? Like growing up here, did you grow up here too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like walking down the street, 7 years old, like they're handing out like little cards with titties and ass on them. So it's a city that's like
exploits it.
Yeah, right. So do you feel like that influenced your decision to start the account? Like, do you think that the culture here is more welcoming of it than it would be like in another city?
Yeah, I think that growing up in Vegas, I got so accustomed to it and I love it. Honestly, like I love the city, I love the strip, and the industry is fun, but it has its up and downs obviously, just as any other one would. But I think it's definitely helped me to be more open about it, and I love social media. I always have. And so I think that was another thing, and it was better almost. Like, I don't have to be a cocktail waitress, you know? I don't have to go meet someone. Like, I can just do it all through the phone.
Yeah, so you don't have to actually clock in to
Yeah.
a job. So I've seen, like myself included, it's happened to me. I've seen a lot of like fake accounts pop up for girls like promoting like an OnlyFans, and I know it's not like actually an OnlyFans site because I've had to go through the process of getting it taken down, and it's some kind of off-brand like
Of like
Wix.
you?
Yeah, like if your account is, because I have my account on public, like, and people are like, why don't you just take it off? But like, I shouldn't have to do that because weirdos are like trying to start some fake account for me. And two, like for my podcast, it's more beneficial for me to keep it public. So, and I work as a cocktail waitress at a club, and especially it happens, I guess, in that environment a lot. Like just girls, like a lot of cocktail waitresses post more revealing pictures, I guess, of their bodies and have public accounts. So that it happens a lot. It's happened to so many people that I know. But I know it's not an actually OnlyFans account because I messaged them one time and I was like, hey, somebody started like a fake account of me. Can you like remove it? And they were like, that's not our site. Like that's it's called like Wix site.
Oh,
it's some weird thing. So what does it look like to verify an account? Like, do you have to submit an ID? How do you prove your age? Because I have a feeling that's why I've never had a fake OnlyFans account started of me, because you have to provide some kind of identification, right?
You have to put your like social in for your like tax ID and everything, and they make you like take a picture like of just your ID and then also it next to your face so they can like verify.
Okay, so it's like you, not just anybody can start it.
No, but I've had it to where people have like, a girl has made an OnlyFans with like her face and everything, but then will post all my content.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. So how do they save that? Like, do they have the option to save video? Like, how do you get prevented from people getting your content for free? You know what I mean? Like, can people save your videos and like send it to people who aren't subscribed to you?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you're getting ripped off in that way. They don't have anything that.
Well, I have like lawyers and stuff that I have, because on Reddit, that's where a lot of stuff will go, is, oh, look at these videos or whatever from her OnlyFans. And there will be like threads of people and just like with content.
So how do you keep track of all that? Like, isn't that a pain in the ass?
It's not really. I haven't had an issue with it, honestly. Because I feel like if people know, like, if someone subscribes to me, they're not really telling people, you know?
Right.
So I think that's where I haven't really had a lot of issues with it.
Right. So like I said, I don't know much about this website. Like that's why a lot of my questions are technical. Would you say that overall your account is pretty successful in comparison to others? Like, do you know other people that have accounts and yours is doing good or bad compared to theirs?
Yeah, there's been a few girls that have messaged me asking to like advertise for them. I just want to keep it like solo myself, and so I don't do that. But I've seen a lot of girls that have started it, and it's like doesn't go anywhere. They don't know how to do the advertising. They don't put themselves out there like they should, or maybe they just don't want to, and that's fine also. But I've put myself out there, and so I think that's why it kind of kicked off. And it was about last year in November, and I met the Nelk Boys.
That's what I was going to ask you. I've seen stuff. I don't know what's going on there, but is that what blew it up for you?
Yeah, so I had seen Kyle at Red Rock, and I was like, hey, I want to take a picture with you. I was like, but I can have my tits out. And then he was like, fuck yeah, let's go. And then I was like, and my boyfriend took the picture. And so everyone kept sending it to him. And he was like, yeah, I know, I took it. But it was super cool because it was right before they started their Send Club, which is like their website, kind of like OnlyFans, but where they post their exclusive content and the stuff that they can't post on YouTube. And so then Kyle reached out to me after that and was like, hey, is it okay if we put it on our Send Club? We're trying to make it like a Girls Gone Wild kind of thing. And I was like, hell yeah. I was like, can you just put my personal Instagram? Because he was like, which Instagram would you want on there? And I was like, my personal. And then, yeah, after that, I got up to like 1,000 fans.
Okay, so that's kind of what did it for you.
Yeah.
And was that exciting for you? Were you like,
oh, it was super exciting, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So did you see a big increase in like the amount of money you were making after that? And has it grown a lot since then, or is it more steady now?
It's more steady right now, just maintaining it. And then, because obviously they subscribe and then the month's over, and then either they stay or they don't, or they decide not to resubscribe. And so you lose, it like goes up and down. It'll fluctuate a ton. But that's why I do like TikToks to balance that out and keep it flowing.
Right. So you think that the biggest difference between you and people that are less successful is probably just marketing and being like not being afraid to say, hey, like link in bio type thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And like the TikToks that I do, they're more like sexualized. So when a guy looks at it, then they go to my profile and they click the link,
Right.
It's just all right there.
Right. So one thing I'm sure a lot of people will wonder, and myself included, is how much money like you actually make from doing something like this. Like, is it a monthly check? Is it like every couple of months you get paid right away? Like, what does that look like?
So how it goes is it'll go in your like balance and stuff, and it has to sit there for like a week. I think it's 7 days. And then that's when you'd put your bank, like your routing number and your bank account number, and then you just withdraw anytime you want once that 7 days, once you can withdraw it at any time.
So it's like a weekly thing?
Yeah.
Do you set your own prices, or is there like a minimum or maximum you can charge?
There's a minimum, so you can either have a free account or the minimum price to subscribe is $3.
So what is a free account? They just have to make like an OnlyFans account and then they can see your stuff?
Don't charge. Which a lot of people will do a free account like as teasers, because you can't I think on a free one you're not allowed to post anything nude.
Okay.
So on a free account you can't post anything nude, and then they'll have that account to basically like for teasers and then to promote their other OnlyFans. So they'll have 2 different ones. You're allowed up to 3.
Okay. And then how much do you make, if you don't mind me asking?
I make, ever since it's like kicked off, it's been like $6,000 to $10,000 a month.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's why I don't do anything else. I just do.
Wow. That is not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Wow. And so is that just like a monthly subscription, or can they buy?
Yeah. So it's a monthly like subscription, and then also that's where you make the most money is in the messages, because I'll sell like a group of pictures for like $10, and then if I have 1,000 subscribers and 500 of them buy it, it's crazy.
Okay. So how does the chatting work? Because I've seen stuff about
I'm
like
the worst at that.
Yeah. What is that? Like, I don't even understand like what the chatting is. Is it like someone you're specifically talking with on an individual level?
Yeah, it's like a DM, pretty much. It's just like a DM. I mean, you have your posts, and people can comment on that. But then there's also in the DM, like messages, it's just one-to-one talking with them.
So I can see how that's a lot to deal with if you have, I don't know, 500 people that want to talk to you. You can't do all that.
Yeah.
So is that when you worked for a management company? Is that basically what they do? Is they have people like do that for you?
Yeah.
Or?
So I would just have a album in my photos, and it would be like a shared thing. So I'd just put all my content when I do it in there, and then I'd have it shared with them, and then they would distribute it onto the account. And then I wouldn't have, like, go on the account, be messaging them. But I stopped working with them because they were taking 50%.
50%?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And that's like an actual, like, who is it? Just some random person that's like, let me manage you? Or is there like a management, like, company that's like.
It's like a management company.
Okay, yeah, 50. Fuck no.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
even think there's
and
any.
he would, he'd be like, oh, yeah, and, like, 2,000 is going to come out because he's, like, paying someone to work on the account. And I'm like, that's what I'm paying you for. Like, you're already taking 50%, and now $2,000 has come out, like,
Right.
every month because, yeah, I just didn't like it.
So it's just better for you to manage it yourself.
Yeah. And I actually, when I stopped working with him, that's when I took off also.
Okay. Good. So do you, when you're doing this, do you feel empowered doing it? Like, do you like doing it, or are you just doing it for the money?
It gives you a confidence that you, like, never knew, like, that was there. Because you're literally sitting there taking pictures of your, like, self and your body, and you're like, holy shit, I look good, And so it's, like, boosting almost. And then there's days where I'm like, oh, like, do I really want to be doing this? And so it's a struggle, definitely, and that's why sometimes I'm, like, so unmotivated, and there will be a week where I'm not on it, and then just on and off, like, slacking. But so it goes hand in hand. I think it's not one more than the other right now.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because one of my episodes last season, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it yet, but it's with Dr. Marta Miena, and she's like a sex researcher. And one of the main, because I've read a lot of books about female sexuality, so that's why this topic has been so like interesting for me to cover, because there's just been really like a war on female sexuality for the better part of human history.
Yeah.
So, and I am very comfortable with my sexuality as well. So I did a lot of outside research, and not like me setting up experiments, but me basically reading other people's research. And the reason I interviewed her, one of her main findings is that female sexuality is actually rooted like in ourselves. So we get the most turned on, not necessarily by a guy, like, not that they don't offer things, right? But it's by how they make us feel. So, like, it's really feeling confident and feeling like, wow, like, I'm beautiful, I'm the center of attention, I'm wanted. That's what turns the female brain on. So, like, it totally makes sense that you say that. And, like, I feel like that's a huge reason why something like this is so popular. One, because female sexuality is being way more embraced now, more now than ever. But also because that's just how our brains work. And now it's, like, accepted for us to do that. So we're getting, like, max capacity turned on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you come up with content, and how often? Like, do you have to, like, get creative and try to film something different, or do you post, like, a lot of the same videos? Like, how often and how do you come up with that stuff? You work with your boyfriend and stuff?
Yeah, so I'll do, like, his mom lives in Utah, and so we went down there and took pictures, like, just in nature, or I'll do some, like, it's, like, in public, and to make it like, ooh, she did, and so stuff like that. And then other than that, just, like, shower pictures, and then in the mirror, like, when I'm on vacation, stuff like that, the beach, all that.
Do you post, like, how many videos do you post in comparison to pictures?
It's almost, like, equal, honestly. It's like, I think right now I have like 50 videos and then I have like 70 pictures. So I keep it like pretty equal, whether it's just a quick video or it's a longer video, like a striptease kind of thing. Like, yeah.
And then how much of it is like you and your boyfriend versus like just you solo?
So, like, a lot of it is just me solo. And I probably have like, only I need my boyfriend in it if it's like sexual kind of thing, like, obviously. But I don't just have him, and like, he hides his face, like, he does everything like that. So nothing can ever like come back also on him, for the future. And then I do it like every week, but I'll send like a mass message every 2 to 3 days. And that's where it makes the real money, so that's why I do that more often.
When people are like requesting content in the chat, is it mostly just like they just want you in it, or do they want you like basically having sex with your boyfriend?
Yeah, well, I'll do, like, I won't even, for a little bit, I did, like, what was it? Like, content that they're asking me for. I started to, but now I don't do it. I just have my stuff, and that's what I do, and I don't want to feel pressured to do something that they're asking me if I'm not wanting to do that, So I just stick with what I'm comfortable with doing, and then just send it out, and if they don't like it, then they'll be gone next month.
Right. Have you had like some really strange requests, like
Yeah.
them just asking you to do super weird shit?
Yeah, like my feet, jacking my boyfriend off with my feet. Like, yeah. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, like the fetish stuff. I took a
and it's like come all over your feet too. And I'm like, oh my God.
yeah. I took a human sexuality class. Not last semester. I'm graduating now. The semester before that. And we had to learn. We did a whole chapter on sexual fetishes. And we watched this video. It's on YouTube, which I don't know how it's just on YouTube. I guess because there's no nudity in it. There's a lot of swearing. But it was just this girl basically pretending to have sex with a balloon. Like, she's, like, sitting and jumping on top of a balloon and, like, rubbing the balloon. And it's, like, people really
get off to that.
Yeah, right. So you've had weird shit like that. Is, like, feet, the
No, armpits. That one was super weird. Yeah, armpits, my belly button, stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, each to their own, I guess.
Yeah.
No judgment, but my brain just doesn't work like that. But so is there anyone on there who's like pushed you to the point where you felt uncomfortable? Like, do you have an option to remove them from your subscriptions without like having to go through a process?
Yeah, so there's been a few people that I'll just like mute and I'll restrict them. So they can like see my posts on my page, but if I send out a mass message, it won't show, like, they can't message me because there's been a few that I just feel so uncomfortable when they're talking to me and the things that they're saying, and so I'll just completely restrict them. So then I still get the monthly subscription, but they can't DM me.
And does it send them like a notification? Do you know, like, hey, you've been...
No, because they're still subscribed.
I don't know, because I feel like it's so hard because do you consider it sex work? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard because, in any other workplace environment, it's like if it gets sexual, then immediately, like, it's considered harassment. It's not allowed, and they're considered a danger to the environment. You know what I mean? But in this, it's kind of hard because it's like it's sexual. That's what it is. You're engaging with someone verbally in a sexual way. So, like, at what point is it considered harassment? You know what I mean? And because if he's doing that to you and making you feel uncomfortable, then he's probably doing it to other people. So it's like, what kind of protections do they have for you guys, for people like that? You know what I mean?
If you got to think about it, OnlyFans is just the website. Us, as the like influencer on there, we're our own. So like when I do my tax and stuff, like, I'm my own company. So you would have to take that upon yourself and block that person. It wouldn't be OnlyFans. But they're also, like, OnlyFans restricts the vocabulary you can use.
Really?
Yeah, so if you type something and you try to send it, it'll be like, oh, can't use this, like, this or this word.
Like, what kind of words?
Like choke, smack, like ones like that.
Like violent words.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are, I see that, I mean, some people are super into that, so that sucks for the BDSM people.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? I can see how they're trying to, like, basically prevent you guys from getting harassed.
Threats, yeah.
Threatened. Right. Okay, well, that's good. I didn't know that. Yeah. That's interesting. So you said you can see who is subscribed to your account?
So, not exactly. So, if they put their name on there, which a lot of people, when they sign up, it says names, and they put their name. But most of the time, it's just like user 2, 3, 4, 5, you know.
Mm-hmm. So people have the option of, like, letting you know that it's them subscribing.
Yeah.
Damn,
or they just, like, are so, like, clueless that they just put their full name and picture and don't think twice about it.
Yeah, maybe they don't think that you can see it or something. That's crazy. So is there anyone that you know who is subscribed to your account that, like, surprises you? Like, you obviously do not say their name.
Don't say.
But, like, people that you were just like, wow, I didn't, like, you kind of mentioned how the people that, like, you know were subscribed. Did that surprise you, seeing, like, people that follow you subscribe to you?
Definitely, because I think a lot of the people that I saw that did subscribe were the first ones I thought would have been talking shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's the best case scenario. I mean, give me your money instead of your hate.
Yeah,
you know?
I get a lot of, like, younger classmen from when I was in high school that, like, had a crush and stuff like that. It's super, like, it kind of makes me uncomfortable sometimes when I have them on OnlyFans, and that's completely fine. Like, everything, like, it's what I do for work, you know, so I can't really feel any type of way about it, but I just feel uncomfortable when they, like, go to my Instagram, then they, like, message me, and I'm like, I think about it, I'm like, okay, well, I'm posting, like, my day-to-day life. Like, I have to think about that, and who's seeing it.
Right, because you can't, it's hard to keep one, especially when you're your own company. It's like you're taking it upon yourself to find a way to keep your personal life and your work life separate.
Still personal, yeah, because if, like, I post nieces and nephews or tag my family, and then they click on my family and start messaging them, like, or start messaging my boyfriend, it's just...
Right.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so there's, like, so much baggage you have to deal with that people don't realize. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Have you had to take legal actions against anybody for anything?
Mm-mm. No. Okay. There's been people that I know that subscribe, and I'll keep them on there, but restrict them like that, and then, or I'll just completely block them. I haven't had an issue with my, like, content being distributed. But it also doesn't tell you if, like, they screenshot or if they screen record, yeah. That's one thing I wish it did.
Yeah, because what if I mean, I guess in theory, like, if they like your content enough to save it, they're probably going to get sick of watching the same shit over and over again, so that's what keeps them subscribing. But, you know, it probably ruins other subscribers for you, because if they're like, no, we'll Venmo you subscribe, and then you just send us all the stuff, and then, you know what I mean? I mean, I guess 6,000 to 10,000 a month, you're not really worried about it, but, you know, thinking about how exponentially bigger that could be, you know what I mean? That does kind of suck.
Yeah, I've gotten the offers of, like, I'll cash up you and then send me the thing. So OnlyFans, because OnlyFans takes a percentage. They take 20%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They take 20% of whatever you make.
And
you have to pay taxes on top of that.
Right, because it's considered, like, a form of employment.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that this you just happen to run into the YouTubers and stuff. I feel like I've seen you do other cool stuff. I can't remember what it is now, but has this opened, like, any other type of doors for you?
Yeah, so after that whole thing, Kyle invited me to go fly out to Florida. I ended up not making the flight because I'd lost my ID. But after that, we hung out just back in April, and we went to Sapphire out here and just hung out. But it's definitely opened some more doors, like getting your name out there and even being around them. Like, obviously people know, like, get familiar with you.
Have you met, like, other celebrities or other YouTubers because you're hanging out with them, or is it mainly just been
It's
through
really
them?
just them, yeah.
And are they, like, do you consider them friends now? Like, you guys are pretty close and stuff? Or
I wouldn't consider it, like, friends. Like, when he comes into town, he'll message me, and we just keep it at that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, even that is
I know,
cool.
And I'm like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, hey, you in town? Hey, when you come into town? No. And I think it's best that it is like that for my boyfriend and me and stuff.
I was gonna say, like, does he not, that doesn't bother him either?
He knows completely.
So the relationship there, like, do you feel like he has like alternative intentions, or you really think that he's just cool with you? And like, because I know how guys can be. They're like,
especially like a YouTuber, like someone in the spotlight kind of thing. I think it's more of like my boyfriend. He's the one that he's like, I think he likes you. I think he's gonna try to, like stuff like that. He's like, I don't want you to leave me for them. And I'm like, I'm not leaving you for freaking Nelk Boys. Like, that's so stupid. But no, honestly, when we were at Sapphire, Kyle's super nice. He asked me, he was like, hey, how's OnlyFans going? How's school going? How's life? How are you and your boyfriend? Stuff like that. So it's really nice.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, because I don't work in the same environment as you by any means, you know what I mean? It's definitely different, but, working in a bikini in Vegas with people who are drunk, like, you run into people that are basically hitting on you constantly. And like, you mentioned that you have a boyfriend. I also have a boyfriend. So you mentioned that you have a boyfriend, and they're like, you get a couple different responses. You get people that are respectful and are like, okay, well, say no more. That's it for me. Like, I respect it. Like, you have a good night, which is rare in at least my environment. Yeah. And then you get people that are like, you can't have friends. Like, you don't want to be friends.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, you don't think I know better than that? Yeah, you're just trying to, like, wait on the sidelines. That's what you're doing. You know what I mean? And then there's people who are, like, more discreet about it. And I feel like it's so hard to tell. This is something that I've struggled with, like, having guy friends in general, is like, at that point, it becomes hard to tell who's genuinely your friend and who is waiting in the sidelines really subtly. You know what I mean?
Who's next in line.
Yeah. Like, let me just ask you about your life. Let me ask you about your boyfriend. Let me ask you about this and that. And then, like, you're cool with them and you're hanging out with them, and then, like, as soon as you're single or something, it's like, oh, so you're not my friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to tell, and I feel like there's been times where my boyfriend's been right about that and I've been wrong, and, like, they can kind of tell because they're guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, like, no different than when we can tell if a girl is like, oh, no, I know what your intentions are. I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we want to give people the benefit of the doubt. You want to be like, no, like, they're really just my friend. And then I've had instances where it's like, well, fuck, I guess you were right. Like, and it makes it hard sometimes to be friends with guys,
I feel like I don't really have a lot of issue with, like, guys, like, hitting on me and stuff. Like, I'll go to the club with my boyfriend, but my boyfriend's pretty, like, well-known in Vegas, and so I think no one really messes with anything like that. Like, messes with me or talks to me some type of way, but there has been, like, pimps that will, like, message me and, like, weird stuff, but
that's scary.
Yeah.
Why is he well known? Does he, like, what does he do for work?
Well, just his family and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So what would you say is, like, the hardest part about managing this account, like, doing something like this?
I feel like it takes a, like, toll on me with, like, my mental health, because I'm like, just sitting there talking to all these men, and, like, that's the last thing I want to do. Like, it sounds terrible, but I just get so clouded, and I feel like I can't, like, think straight because I'm having to, like, put on a show almost for this man and this man, and I have, like, 200 DMs that I just look at it and I'm like, I can't reply to all these. So it got to the point where I would just click, like, read all and then just send out my mass message. So, yeah. Because I don't do, like, custom stuff. So I'm like, what really would I need to say?
Do you feel like disrespected? Like, is that why, like, it takes a toll on your mental health? Like, what about it is super hard for you? Just, like, having to put in the energy to be, like, flirty when you don't want to be? Or is it, like, because they say these derogatory things to you? Or what about it?
I think a lot of it is, like, me knowing, like, oh, I'm, like, posting this on my body. Or it is the way they say things, and I'm, like, just completely not interested. and it like makes it hard for me to get excited about it again because there are men on there that are so derogatory and like harsh, and there's a lot of people that will like be demanding, and I'm like, okay, that's not how this is supposed to be, and I'm not gonna accept it. And then it just gets to me, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do, and then it like makes it harder for me to go back into work because I'm like, I don't want to hear that again, or they say something else, or who knows what they'll say.
Right.
And I'm like, who knows who it even is? That's the scary part too.
Yeah, especially if it's user 225, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you say like there's a part of you that's like, oh, I'm posting this of my body because there's this, as with anything, there's this mass stereotype that, oh, if you have an OnlyFans, you don't have any self-respect for your body or this or that, like you're not conservative about your body. But you're saying there is some times where you do kind of feel uncomfortable about like sharing like vulnerable parts of yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And then when I think about it, I'm like, okay, well, when I like start school again, because I took us like the semesters off because during COVID, because I'm not good online, and so I didn't want to like risk getting the bad grade, so I was just waiting for it to be in class again. And so I'm like, what about when I go back to school or when I have like my kids and stuff? So I mean, my boyfriend's okay with it, so it kind of helps with that, and it like hypes me up. But just thinking about the future, and I think like, oh, if my boyfriend's family found out that I was doing this, like, how would they view of me? They know now, like they've got to. His sister will like make like funny jokes, but they don't like treat me any different because of it, which is super nice. But it just like gets in my head. I'm like, oh, well, I wonder what they view me as and what all that. So it does like take a toll a little bit, but then I start taking pictures again and I'm like, yay.
Right. It's like a balance, probably. Yeah, like with anything. I mean,
you just have to like, I have to do a lot of like reading and like mental health work to keep me, because that's all I do. And so when I sometimes I have like nothing else to do, so yeah.
Is it draining? Because I mean, for me personally, I feel like it would be hard to take good content if you're not aroused. You know what I mean? So, like, is it hard because you, like, sometimes you have to fake it and, like, take stuff, like, take content when you're not in the mood? Or is it hard because you constantly have to put yourself there to make content?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it also is, like, you see, when I take content, I'm like, oh, I just want this to be like how my body looks. I want my body to look like this, or, and so I see other girls also on Instagram that have their OnlyFans. And then when I take my pictures, I'm like, oh, like I wish I looked like this. And then I just don't post it because I'm like, I don't think I look good. So.
It's like anything with social media. Too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's harder when it's your work and not just your Instagram page.
Right, because you literally, if you don't put something out, you don't get paid. So that's, yeah, I never even thought about that. It's a whole added layer that, like, there's just so much that people are insensitive to, and it's really easy for people to, like, disregard or disrespect anyone who does stuff like this. And there's just no, like, I never would have even thought, I consider myself, like, a pretty, like, compassionate, empathetic person who's like able to put themselves in other people's shoes, right? And it just never would have even crossed my mind how much of an impact that could take, like, on your mental health. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's kind of sad, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think for like the past few months, that's why I've just been like slacking on it. And it kind of, like, my boyfriend will like get on me and be like, oh, hey, you need to do this, like, you need to make content, you need to post, you need to send it out. And then I'm like, oh, I don't want, like, I'm like, oh, stop. And then me and him get in, like, arguments because I'm like, no, I don't, like, stop telling me. I was like, I'll do it when I want, because I just get so, like, flustered, and I don't talk to him about when I feel stuff like that, when I feel that way. But I'll even get guys, like, and this is also going back to, it's, like, scary with my social media, because there will be men, like, messaging me on OnlyFans, like, oh, hey, I'm going to be in Vegas, and this time, can I see you, or can we meet up or something? And then they obviously follow my Instagram, and they know where I'm at if I post. So there's days where, like I just posted yesterday, I was in San Hollow. I was in San Hollow last week, like last week. So I can't like post when I'm like at places. I have to be like mindful of that.
Yeah, it's hard because there's no set hours, so you kind of have to figure out like when am I off? Like taking taking time off work is literally losing money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you do like a shit ton of content at the beginning of the week or something, and then yeah, well, I just didn't even realize like how complex this was, especially if it is a main source of income. You know what I mean? That adds a whole layer of responsibility, and like for me, anytime I feel super obligated to do something, like there's days where dealing with this shit is hard for me. I'm like, I don't want to write my script today. I don't I'm very vocal about it on my Instagram story. I don't want to go fucking edit this video. It's the last thing I want to deal with. I know it's going to be difficult. I'm not feeling patient right now, and that takes like the joy out of it. You know what I mean? And because I don't profit off of this financially in any way, I have the freedom, if I wanted to be like, I'm done. But for you, it's like, if this is your main, especially with that kind of money,
Yeah.
you know what
And
I
I think
mean?
you get so comfortable with that money. It's like, so I'm just going to go somewhere else and make a fraction of that, you know? And I feel like I was able to save up a lot of money and like get nice things, but it is hard. And I don't think a lot of people think about it like that. And I think that's also why a lot of people don't succeed in it because it does take a toll. And you don't think about that before.
Right. It's similar in working in like the cocktail waitressing industry because you make so much money. You know what I mean? Like last weekend, Memorial Day weekend's like the biggest weekend of the year, right, for the clubs. But last weekend we made, depending on who worked what shifts, like me personally, I think I made close to $6,000 in a weekend. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh fuck. Like I have my degree, but am I gonna go and work for some like marketing or PR firm where they're gonna pay me $40,000 a year for going to work 5 days a week when I can work at a pool party for 7 months and make the same amount of money, if not like twice that? So it's hard, but I was aware of that, like going into it. Like they tell you, like, you can get sucked into this. And like I know people that have been sucked into that. And I like promised myself, like I made a promise to myself. I was like, you have to promise yourself that if there is a job that you feel is going to lead you into like the real industry that you want to be in, the real career field, you have to leave even if it's going to pay you less, because it's like ripping that band-aid, you know what I mean? And what I try to do is I try not to live my life based off of the income that I make now. So it's like this month, I don't know, I'll probably make close to $8,000 in a month. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to live an $8,000 a month. You know what I mean? I'm going to live as if I'm making 2 grand this month. And that is what helps me kind of like feel like it's not going to be such a shock. Yeah, once I'm done. I make enough money now if I wanted to, like, to go move into an apartment and pay for it myself and still live a really great lifestyle. But then what happens is because talking about mental health, like it wears on my mental health dealing with entitled people that think, oh, I paid $1,500 to sit at this table. You're basically my slave for the day. And it's like they talk to you some type of way, and you can't, like, the difference between, I don't know how you're able to respond to them. Like, I can't restrict them. I can't mute them. Yeah. I'm stuck with them for 6 hours. And I also can't respond to them the way that I would if they talked to me like that outside of work. And that drains me because I'm a very confrontational person. So if you're talking to me some type of way, I want to tell you to shut the fuck up. Good luck dealing with, orders the rest of the day, because it's not going to be through me. I can't do that. You just have to kind of sit and take it and be calm and figure out a way to make it through the rest of the day. And that is draining. So it's like if I get to a point where, you know, at the end of the season, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. But then I have my rent to make that month. I have my fancy car that I have to pay for. I have this that I took a loan out on. You know what I mean? Yeah. That traps you. So it's like my biggest thing is I feel like I think in terms of my mental health because I've had to struggle with it for so long. Now it's like at the forefront. It's like even as bad as I want to move out right now, it's not going to set me up for success in the long run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I totally understand that.
But I think it's even harder for you because, like I was saying earlier, I'm not in person. I can just be behind a screen doing all this.
Right.
And, like, I remember, I think you would tell me about when you were at Daylight and how guys would even, like, try to grab you and stuff. And it just, that's, I think, why I'm so, like, steady on OnlyFans, because I don't have to deal with the harassment that you would have to.
Yeah, so, like, is that what would be the best part? Is that one of the best parts about working online?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Well, that besides the money, like, would you say that not having interaction with them is the best part, or is there something else that you like about it the most?
I like that I'm my own boss. Like, I can come here at 3 o'clock, you know, and not have to worry about, oh, what time do I work? What time do I get off? Me and my boyfriend, we get up and we go on vacations, like, seems like weekly. Like, so I can just do whatever, whenever. I've been, like, lucky enough to have the privilege to, like, buy certain things. Not even, like, buy, like, nice things. It's just, like, I have a car, like, a nicer car now. It's still under, like, 30 grand. So, you know, it's not, like, out of my budget. And I was able to, like, get my nose done for my breathing. And then, yeah, like, it's just, it's not that I'm, like, there's nothing that's too bad about it, but I just really love the leisure it gives me.
Right. Just the financial freedom.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize, like, when you have financial freedom, like, money doesn't buy happiness. Okay, but it buys a lot of other things that make you happy. So it's like when you have the ability to make your own hours because you make that kind of money, or to go on vacations, those are experiences. Experiences definitely make people happy. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I get that. Like, making that kind of money gives you a life. How old are you?
20.
So a life at 20 that other 20-year-olds are not living. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Definitely. And there's, shoot, I just had it in my head. You can go on.
Do you have an idea of how long you want to do this for? Like, is there a game plan, or are you just kind of winging it right now?
Right now I'm just winging it and seeing how it goes. I mean, there's girls I know that are still doing it at 25, and obviously I don't want to be doing it that long. But I was in college to go to law school. But then I worked in a law firm, and I saw attorneys come in from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to school for 8 years to be working, like, 12-hour days. And so that I kind of just, like, crossed off my list, and I was like, okay, I don't want to do that. And so now I'm, like, in between, like, do I want to just go back to college and get, like, a casino management degree, or do I, since I do have a good following, do I want to go be an esthetician, like, hairdresser? Because I would be able to get in, like, a good place with the following that I have. And so right now I'm just, like, don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of up in the air. Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I graduated 3 weeks ago, and I can't even begin to tell you how many people have asked me, so what are you going to do next? What's the plan next? And it's not like they're asking it with good intentions. They care, and they want to know, like, you know, about what's going on in my life. But it gets stressful because I'm like, fuck, you're making me feel like I should know. Like, I should have a plan. Like, I should have it figured out. And I think it's normal to just go through, especially, like, early 20s, to just go through this period where you're kind of like, I don't know yet. I'm going to kind of wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that there's value in having patience through those kind of things, because I'm a workaholic. So I struggle because I'm like, I need to constantly be doing something. I'm so bad at, like, sitting still, relaxing, just not doing anything. So I feel like it's okay to just kind of be where we're at, where it's like, yeah, we'll see what happens at this point. You know what I mean? So one comment that I get a lot about the OnlyFans is, oh, like, like one day your kids are going to see that. Like, do you worry about that at all? Like, are your images protected to the point where they wouldn't be able to see? I mean, I can't, like, as a kid, I wouldn't go looking for that of either one of my parents, but do you worry about that part of it?
I don't, because even now, like I said, I have an attorney that I can call anytime and be like, hey, there's this photo, and then it's like removed like that. So I don't think it worries me about them coming across my content. And I think once I have kids, that's going to be in like 10 years. So,
Right.
yeah.
If you wanted to delete your whole account and all the images on there, like, could you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And you
I
wouldn't.
can completely deactivate my account.
Okay. And you wouldn't worry about them, like, still circulating? Because, it is the internet, you know what I mean? So, like you said, there are people that record stuff, that save it, that might have it, and, like, do you worry about, like, it affecting future employment opportunities and, like, coming back and biting you in the ass at all?
I thought, at first I was thinking about that, right? And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, it's getting so comfortable now with people. And I feel like people are so, like, it's getting, like, what is it? Like, not desensitized.
More accepted.
Yeah,
Like,
it's more accepted
like
now.
normalizing it.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm like, I don't really think I will, like, it bothers me at all. I think that's honestly one of my least worries, because it is so accepted, and it's only gonna get more accepted. So,
Right. And it's like a regulated website. You file taxes. Like, it's just a choice of employment. I guess, like, this is complicated because it's like with any issue, but, like, if they were, I feel like there's no way to really know if they were to find something like that and then discriminate against you because of that. Like, what are they going to say to you? Like, hey, we did your background, whatever, and we found, like, these nude images of you, so, like, we're not going to hire you for that. Because I feel like you could make a case against them for that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they're not going to tell you, like, that's the reason they're not hiring you. Yeah. Like, they might just be like, oh, you didn't meet this requirement, or, oh, you didn't meet that requirement. I guess that's with any form of discrimination. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whether it's tattoos or piercings or skin color or gender, like, they're not explicitly saying, I'm not hiring you because you're black. I'm not hiring you because you're a woman. But they do it, like,
subtly.
Yeah. So do you, like, worry about that at all? Or you're just like,
I don't know why I don't.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of like tattoos. It's becoming so.
I think I'm just not worried about it because I haven't received any, like, type of discrimination. Honestly, it's been like a lot of support kind of thing. And so I don't really worry about it in that way.
And if you were to do something like, become an esthetician or something,
that I would be my own boss at the same time,
Right.
And so even I thought about, like, casino management. I'm like, that's also, like, the business as well, in a sense. So
yeah, it's Vegas, so it's not like that would be the biggest tick on your record or anything. I'm sure they see people with worse shit on their record than that.
Yeah.
It's not like a felony
and stuff. Yeah.
So do you have any advice to people who might be considering starting an OnlyFans?
Be consistent. I notice a lot of girls, why they don't succeed is because they aren't consistent. They'll take whatever like pictures they have on their phone, and that's what their content will be. But I think it's important to stay, and I know I sound so bad because I was just saying how I hate, like, talking to them and stuff, but that's, like, actually what's good is, like, building that relationship. And because in their head they think it's like someone's giving them attention and they like that, and it's someone that they obviously are interested in. So, but it does take a lot out of you. Yeah, but be consistent and talk to them, and don't get too wrapped up in it.
What do you have in terms of, like, mental health advice for them? Like, if they start to feel overwhelmed, like, what do you do to unwind from that and to, like, take a break from it?
So I recently started turning off, like, notifications on, like, social media. So if I because for so long I'd, like, get a notification on Instagram and then go on it and then sit there on it on Instagram. So if you turn off your notifications, you only see your likes pop up when you actually go on Instagram. It's not like a constant reminder or Twitter that, you know, and that's also what's super cool about, I had to turn off my email notifications for OnlyFans because they would come in and be like, oh, getting another DM, like another DM, and that's even overwhelming to have to see it. So it's nice to be able to have it on Safari and see it only when you go on it and you think to go on it. So I would say just unplug yourself from that.
It's not constantly like pulling you in when you're not ready to be pulled in.
Yeah.
I definitely get that. I feel I literally, this is like something that I've recently come to terms with. I feel like I have ADD, bro. Like I can't like do things consistently. Like I did well in school, so people argue with me about it because they're like, there's no way you could have like done that if you had ADD. But no one sees how long it takes me to get like an assignment done, especially at that level. Like I spent so many hours like on top of being like a perfectionist and I'm overthinking every detail. Like I will see something and then I'll get pulled in a completely different direction. So like if I'm working on something that's already boring for me and something like a notification pops up on my phone, there goes 10 minutes because I'm going to scroll through there. I'm going to see something else that I want to click on. Like I'm going to forget that I even needed to check the notification. It's just like it pulls you in. It really, really does.
Yeah, I would go on Instagram like, oh, I need to message this person back. And then I'm just sitting there scrolling and I'm like, what did I even come on Instagram here for?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so much nicer to have the notifications off. Like, it's at your time that you're going to go on it. And you're not like, even TikTok. TikTok is terrible. I waste so much time on there. It's crazy.
Dude, that's the one where like I've been really bad about it lately. I think I've just been struggling mentally with some stuff, so it's like a comfort object, a distraction for me. But TikTok is so bad. Like especially I don't get high anymore, but when I used to like take edibles, oh my God, literally 3 hours. I wouldn't even know 3 hours had passed. I'd just be literally going through TikTok. That one really sucks you in. Yeah. It's like a visual and an audio, one after another.
It's hard also for me because that's what I have to do for work. I literally sit on TikTok to see what's trending and to get ideas on what TikToks to do to market myself. And so then I'm like sitting there and like 3 hours goes by and then I'm like, I need to do content. And then I'm like, oh, well, the sun's going down. Like I just don't feel good anymore. Like my boyfriend will be home soon, you know? And so then I ended up just don't for the day. So.
Yeah, so many layers that I just didn't even realize existed. It sounds like you're really committed to it, though, which is respectable. You know what I mean? It's not just something you're like, here's my ass and titties. It's like, here's my ass and titties with some thought put to it. Yeah. So it's like, that's good at least. Regardless, it's fine. Everyone does their own shit, but it sounds like you put like a lot of thought and effort into it, which is, you know, probably why you've been as successful as you have been. Because even if you were to get that attention from some YouTuber, like people could go on and not like your content and not subscribe. You know what I mean? So props to you for keeping it up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lastly, is there anything that you wish people were more considerate or compassionate about in regards to people who engage in this type of work?
I think if you are subscribing to someone, keep in mind like the things you're saying to them and what they say back to you. If they don't say anything back to you, like kind of take it as like something and be mindful of like, okay, maybe they didn't like that and I won't say that again. Or like there's men that'll message me like 50 times in a row and I'm like, no. I'm like, you know what? You're just not. There's been people I've blocked because I'm like, it's not worth the $10 a month. It's not. And so I think people just need to be respectful and mindful. I mean, we are women, so we already do struggle with so much, I think, with our confidence and just our day-to-day, but
day-to-day,
yeah,
like literally,
honestly,
like, yeah.
It takes a lot out of someone to constantly think of content. I mean, there's even girls subscribe to me for ideas for content, and that's why they are subscribed to me, because they get ideas and they learn it through that. That's how they make theirs successful as well. So yeah, I definitely think if you just think before you say some things, like, or if you think, oh, maybe I shouldn't say this, you probably shouldn't, like, if you have to think, like, should I or could I, like, if I do say this, you probably shouldn't be saying it.
Right.
So,
what about to people who are, so that was like more to people that do subscribe, which in a way they're supporting it if they're subscribing. What about the people who are completely like judgmental of it and opposed to it altogether? Like, what do you wish that they were more compassionate or open-minded about?
I feel like you can't really, if someone's not open to it, there's no change in their mind. But I don't know. I feel like because I've had to deal with that with my dad, and there's no changing his mind, and I'm not going to take the effort out of me to try to do that,
Right.
But I think if you don't like it, don't look at it, like.
Yeah. Don't hate.
Yeah, that's what I just don't understand. Like, why involve yourself so much if you don't agree? Just go on But if you're actually, like, curious and willing to be open-minded, then that's amazing. But
Well, hopefully we'll get those people listening to this, you know what I mean? I'm assuming that a lot of people that listen are not going to have, like I said, any huge issues with what we're saying. But, hopefully we'll be able to catch some people that maybe are going to have a different light on it now. You know what I mean?
yeah, it does. It's not like I just do it, like, I mean, I do it willingly, but, like, I do it with the bad intentions or, like, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. Like, it does take a lot out of me, and sometimes I do feel bad that it is what I do. But I think people should take that into consideration and don't think of it as like, oh, she's a whore or she's a slut. How are you able to do that? And just take it as like, I took this opportunity to save up money for like my family in the future, just my future in general, and to live a better life for myself and to help pay for college and whatever needs be. And it's not like, I feel like someone shouldn't be torn down about that.
Right, for sure. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's all I have for you. Thank you for sharing. I know it's not an easy topic to discuss. I'm sure you're used to the spotlight, considering you have to advertise your account and stuff. But regardless, I appreciate you taking the time to be here. For anyone who has any questions or concerns, I'll have Shayna's contact information posted on both my Instagram and my YouTube. And for anyone who is interested in Shayna's OnlyFans account, I will also share that link on both of those sites as well. Thank you all in advance for the support, and I will see you in 2 weeks to talk elephants again.